Hello my lovelies, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which is going to be a testing new makeup video. I had kind of envisioned doing this not too long ago when I was placing an Ulta order, and then when I placed a Sephora order, I was like, okay, I really have to. So that way you know what my first impressions on a lot of these products are, and you know, if in case you have them on your loves list or whatever, you kind of know. So if you're interested in just chatting and playing with some new makeup, seeing how it worked out for me, then just keep on watching. All right, you guys, real quick, before we go into the, I don't know, testing new makeup, whatever it's called, I want to let you know a few things, or what really I am going to be playing with today. So I've got the Charlotte Tilbury Luxury Palette of Pops in Dazzling Diamonds, the YSL Touche Clot 3D All Over Glow, the Ilia Nightlite Bronzing Powder, the Urban Decay Ever So Hyped Up Stay Naked Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. That is a tongue twister right there. Let's see, we've got the Charlotte Tilbury Jewel Pots in Walk of No Shame. I've got, this is not new, it's new to me, one of the Dior blushes that was on everybody's favorites for 2020. I also have the Dewdrops by Glow Recipe. There's just a lot to work with here today. I've got the Nars, what is this called? Air Matte Lip Color. I'm trying to find it, it's right here. So a lot of new to play with, probably a couple of things that aren't as new, they're just new to me because they were in my haul. And so if you're interested in just kind of checking out how this worked for me, then let's get into that portion of the video now. So I'm gonna go ahead and start off with my Tatcha Silk Liquid Canvas, Liquid Silk Canvas primer. I love this primer and it works so well with every single foundation I have. So I figured this would be the best for trying out a new hydrator foundation. It's all the same. I'm just kidding. Anyways, so this is not new, but again, I picked this because of the consistency with my other foundations. So we're gonna try out the Urban Decay Stay Naked Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. If that's not a mouthful, I don't know what is. This is very thick. Squeezing this thing out of the tube, I was like, what? No wonder people are saying it's so thick and high coverage. So I didn't go in with a ton just because I didn't want it to look cakey. And I think I went in pretty much with the perfect amount. So I just dotted it all over my face, and I'm going to use a beauty sponge. Ultimately, I think the Beauty Blender is the best option for this. This sponge is, I think, by Real Techniques. It's a little bit dense, but as I'm putting this in, or as I'm like pouncing this into the skin, I am noticing that it's not looking as hydrated as I anticipated. And that took me by surprise because I had really, really high hopes. Not that it looked bad. It ended up making my skin look very smooth, blurred, pretty flawless. Like, it looked very nice, but I did have that high expectation for a very glowy type of finish, which I did not see. Now, one thing that I did notice is that my pores around like my nose area on my cheeks, I couldn't tell if they looked a little more emphasized than usual, and I don't know if you're going to be able to tell on camera, but they definitely weren't smoothed out. The rest of my face was. Going in with my Rare Beauty Concealer, again, this is not new. I did not purchase a new concealer, but I figured I kind of wanted to use one that's a little more lightweight, given that I'm not using an official foundation, I'm using a hydrator. So just placing this under my eyes and around my nose, because around my nose, it gets very, very red. Y'all, it is like 5:30 in the morning, and my cup of coffee is crucial. So I like to let that concealer get a little tacky, and that's kind of why I was waiting a little bit, because doing so helps it get a little bit thicker and creamier, I hope that's the right term, but basically a little bit more coverage than if I would have just gone and blended it straight away. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit of powder. Again, powder I already have. This is the Too Faced Born This Way powder, just a little small concentrated brush by It Cosmetics. And I'm gonna go ahead and set my under eyes. This is a process I do every single time, no matter what I'm going to use as my all-over powder. So I set my under eyes, and then I set around my nose, under my chin, and between my brows, and right over the brow bone where I wouldn't want a buffy or a puffier brush to get powder all over. Now I'm going to go in with the YSL Touche Éclat 3D All Over Glow. I was so excited to get this in my haul, y'all. I love the packaging. It's very, very luxe looking and feeling, and I loved the whole experience. Taking a Wet n Wild brush, and I am going to grab this and place it all over my face. I'm going to mention this later on, but ultimately this was not the right brush for applying this. It's just, it kind of applies product pretty concentrated instead of like an all-over buffing brush, and so poor choice on my end for a brush. But what I did find was that it was very pretty, but it was almost making my foundation look like it was oxidizing. It's just, I feel like it's a little bit of a deeper tone, so on my skin tone it ends up looking deeper. So I went in with my beauty sponge because in the hollows of my cheeks it was starting to look like I hadn't blended out my foundation properly, but really what it was the YSL powder making my skin look a little bit deeper. And like I said, it's not really giving the powder a fair chance. My pores, y'all, this is not doing it any favors. But anyways, hope you can see that. I don't know that you're going to be able to, but not doing it any favors by not using the right brush. So going in with the Ilia bronzer. It's called the Nightlite bronzing powder. Mine is in the shade Drawn In, and I am using a Morphe Lisa Frank brush. This is a super finely milled, I guess is the term for when you get a ton of product without hardly touching the pan. So again, poor choice of brush on my part, because I should have used a dual fiber brush to more evenly distribute. That being said, this bronzer is absolutely sensational. Whoever uses that word anymore, but anyways, I'm gonna say it. It's sensational. Score for Kathleen Lights for featuring this in her 2020 favorites, because that's how I ended up finding out about it, and that's what prompted me to add it to my loves list, and I am so glad I did. It's the perfect tone, the perfect creamy bronzy tone. It's not too red, it's not too brown, like it's perfect. I love these types of shades, and quite frankly, one of my favorite products from my haul. I'm going to go in with the Dior blush. This is the Backstage blush. Mine is in the shade 001 Pink. I love the packaging, you guys. It drew me in for sure. Now, I'm going to use a Sephora blush brush, and I do go in with quite a bit of products, and I'm not shy about blush. Stephanie Leda had said that if she layers too much, this ends up looking kind of like chalk, and so I wanted to be sure. I had that on my mind. I didn't want to layer too much, but I ended up finding I had to build it quite a bit. And that's, I'm assuming that is the intent. Is it for it not to be too bold, like it's a natural type of blush that you can build up? It ended up wearing very nicely throughout the whole day, and I liked it very much. But I couldn't tell when I was putting it on at this moment. I was like, do I like this or not? It's you have to build it so much. But at this point, I'm okay with that. It looked very, very lovely throughout the day. Wore nicely. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of eye primer. I have a thought that I'm going to come back to, but I just went in with a little bit because of that Jewel pot by Charlotte Tilbury, the Walk of No Shame. I didn't know how it would layer over a creamier, thicker primer, so I was like, oh, I'm going to go light-handed. So that's why I did that. But I am going to go in first with the Charlotte Tilbury, what is this called? This is the Luxury Palette of Pops in Dazzling Diamonds. So, and of course, I'm going to pair it with the Jewel Pots. I'm going to first go in with the smoke, or not the smoke shade, I'm sorry, the Define shade. It is the one of the two more neutrally colors, but the deeper of the two. And this is going to go in my crease. Now, Charlotte Tilbury formula is absolutely beautiful in the crease, regardless of it being a I guess, shimmer, if you want to call it that. Stunning. It has a way of accentuating the eyes. It's elegant. This was no exception. I've heard very mixed reviews on the these types of, like, the Palette of Pops palettes. And so I kind of was like, I don't know what to expect. But no disappointment here. Just as on par, at least in my opinion, for her eyeshadow palettes. I'm going to use the Smoke shade, which is number 3 in the palette. And in typical fashion, these don't really have names. It's more like placement, I guess. So this is a beautiful shade. It's black and it can be very intimidating, but when you blend it out, it's got this sheen to it that's absolutely stunning. It's, I don't know. I can't sing this brand's praises enough. All in all, I love this palette, you guys. I can honestly say I have used every single shade at this point, and it's absolutely stunning. Again, another total score, a win for this Sephora haul. So it's time to go into the little jewel pots. This is, like I said, it's in the shade Walk of No Shame, and I love the little topper. It's very cute. The formula is very, very soft, like silky soft. Upon swatching, it looks lovely. It looks like it's going to pack a little bit of a punch, but it did end up being, and again, I will go into this towards the end of the video when I recap everything, but this really did underwhelm me. I had to layer several times, and like, I don't know, as I was putting this on, I'm like, I don't know what to think about this. I had such high hopes, and it kind of was just, a little underwhelming, a little disappointing, and so yeah, just not anything super extraordinary. Nothing you can't find in her palette, let alone paying $30-some for a little standalone pot. So definitely not worth the price tag for me. And by the end of the day, I will tell you, it had faded and creased on my eye. Could be that it was because I didn't put enough primer, who knows. So just buffing with no added product, that black shade just into that one that I placed down from the jewel pot. And I'm grabbing a liner brush, and I'm going to use that black shade, that Smoke shade, as my liner. Now this is going to look a little bit deeper, a little more concentrated than what I put in the crease, because obviously I'm not blending it out. I'm literally just laying it down, grabbing more and laying more down, because I want it to look like a very soft, smoky liner, and it did just that. I will be reaching for that shade, I think, on a regular basis as my liner. Going in with some mascara. This is just my typical L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara. Nothing new and exciting here. Nothing like a little drugstore product mixed in with a whole lot of luxury. But I am coating my top and bottom lashes, and I will be placing falsies. So going back into the YSL powder and now my Real Techniques brush, I am going to place this down as I would a regular highlighter. So as I was laying this down, I was like, okay, I don't really see a lot, which is what I expected. But then I turned and I was like, oh, I see something there. So it reminded me quite a bit of the Charlotte Tilbury highlighter that she released for holiday. Like subtle and kind of understated, but at the same time, in the right light, looks absolutely glowing, healthy, just beautiful. All right, let's go ahead and go in with falsies. For reference, I'm using the Kiss Ritzy lashes today. They are a beautiful lash. I forget how much I like them. I go without using them for a while, and then I come back to them and I'm like, you know what? I really like these lashes. So I had trouble today placing my lashes on. I do not know why. So there are some days, let me know if you're the same way. Some days they go on as if nothing, and some days they just want to give you the hardest time. That particular lash I'm putting on right now, the tail end did not want to stay put, and it can try your patience after a while. I'm going to go in with the lightest shade in the palette of Pops. It is the Prime shade. This is going to be what I placed in my inner corner with a small little detail brush. Again, just absolutely beautiful. Adds the perfect twinkle, the perfect amount of elegance. I literally felt like one of those Charlotte Tilbury models that, on Instagram or whatever, just because it is so, so lovely. All right, so it's time to go in with this little, what could be a gimmicky thing. I don't know. So this is the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow. I never know how to say that. Niacinamide? Oh gosh, I don't know. It's the dewdrops. That's all I'm gonna say. I had the hardest time figuring out how to use this. I should have prepped before doing this video, but I pumped a little bit onto my hand. It does have a cloudy pink coloring to it, but I started to get my highlighting brush just to place it like over the tops of my cheeks, and I was like, I don't know, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? So I checked the box, and lo and behold, you use your finger. Tells you the instructions on whether you're going to use it on a bare face or over makeup. It's a very goopy consistency, and I feel like the more I was, you know, playing with it there on my hand, the more it was intimidating me, just because these kind of products can make something go wrong very quickly. It can break up makeup, it can look terrible. It didn't end up looking terrible. I can honestly say it did not break up any kind of the makeup. The only thing is I saw the line. It almost ended up making the YSL and blush look darker, so I had to kind of dissipate that or buff that out with the, not buff it out, but kind of pat it out with the sponge, because I was not a fan of the way it was looking. We were going in a direction that I wasn't having it. So I ended up going back with a little bit of, well, just what was on the brush from my blush, and just kind of blending it back all out. I'm going to go in with sorry, wrong sister, Kylie lip liner in Do You Boo. This is going to be a little bit deeper than the lipstick that we're going to use today, so just going in with that, kind of trying to take off a little bit of the lip oil that I had put after brushing my teeth. If I put lip oil, I have the hardest time getting lip liner to go on my lips, and I'm sure a lot of y'all have the same issue. So now we're going to go in with the Nars Air Matte Lip Color in the shade All Yours. It is the lightest of the collection. It's a very pretty, I think very flattering nude, but then again, I do love me a good light nude. I don't mind concealer lips. Now, this is not concealer lips, but I'm just saying. So the doe foot applicator, it looks like a foot. I don't know, it's really strange. Anywho, just placing this on my lips, it is a very kind of wet formula, and I'm trying to think of how I can explain it to you. Within a couple of hours, it had really settled into my lip lines, and I had that line, line that you get inside your lips that looks a little crusty and gross. Yeah, you get that with this lipstick. So I don't know if I would go back and buy a different shade or not. I'm just going in with some setting spray just to kind of melt everything back in place, make everything look just, settled and pretty, glowy maybe. And that's it. That brings us to the end of trying all my new products. I hope you enjoyed. All right, my friends, before I let you go, I am going to give you a quick rundown on what I think of each of these products. Although I think you could already tell by a lot of my expressions, I can be very expressive when I'm playing with makeup based on how I feel about it. So there is that. I have stuff all over this table, so not even in order, but the YSL Touche Éclat, I don't know how I feel about this yet. I feel like as an all over glow, I love all over glows, but I feel like this deepens up my complexion in a way that I'm not entirely crazy about. So I may end up having to only use this as a highlight. I don't know. I feel like I may need to use it with another foundation that I know I love, and then see what happens there. But that's what I feel about that. It's lovely. It gives it's weird because you put it on and you're like, I don't really see a whole lot of glow. And I knew it was going to be subtle, but then, I don't know, you kind of turn and you're like, wow, there's a glow. So anyways, there is that. For reference, I'm a light to light medium skin tone, and so that's what I'm finding as far as it deepening up my complexion. The Charlotte Tilbury Luxury Palette of Pops in Dazzling Diamonds. Absolutely love. This is a stellar palette for me and my taste, my preference. I love her eyeshadows, just absolutely stunning, and I can't wait to keep using it. The little jewel pot, I think I'm a little underwhelmed by. I know Charlotte Tilbury is more on the elegant understated side while still packing a punch, if that makes any kind of sense at all. And this, it still was underwhelming to me. I don't know that this doesn't deliver anything more than something out of one of her eyeshadows would. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. It's not anything outside or extraordinarily great outside of her palettes. That was like a total rambling sentence, just my way of saying I'm not super crazy about that. Probably the first product by Charlotte Tilbury that I'm not crazy about. The Ilia bronzer, absolutely hands down fantastic, beautiful, my perfect type of shade, that creamy, rich, not too red, not too brown type of shade that just suits my skin tone. I would use a different brush with this. I went in with a denser brush. This is a very, very pigmented powdery product. So next time I will go in with like a duo fiber brush that will pick up a little bit less and kind of more evenly distribute it. This I use for my more stiffly packed bronzers, and I should have changed it out. So that really did make a difference, but even with that, I still love that. Let's see. Also, I will say that Touche Éclat by YSL, this also, I can already tell, this wasn't the appropriate brush to distribute it all. It ended up making it more concentrated in some places. Again, I need more of a kind of dual fiber brush or more of a setting powder brush to really be able to evenly distribute the product. So definitely not the right brush there either. As far as the dewdrops, I am very on the fence about these, and I think this might be a product that is just totally better suited for my no makeup days. And I don't mean no makeup days, I mean no makeup days, because it did not disrupt my makeup in any way, but it did end up, you know, when you put those gel type of formulas, it ends up creating a line that you can see, and I don't know. And then I had that Touche Éclat that had already deepened my complexion. It looked, I don't know, it did not look cohesive. So I do think it added a little bit more of a glow, but I don't know enough about how it's working to really give you an opinion on this yet. So I will probably keep you posted. And then I think, oh, the lipstick, I mean, I haven't had it on for very long. So far it's nice. It does feel like it would move a little bit, but I do feel like it's sort of drying down a little bit. I don't think it's gonna dry down completely, but I do think it's drying down a bit, and I'm happy with this shade. I probably would pick up Joyride, which is the other one that I had my eye on. And so, yeah, it's a very expensive lip product, though it's Nars, I get it. But anyways, it's pretty, but I don't think that this is something you couldn't get with something like Rare Beauty for like 10 bucks less. So anyways, there is that. The Urban Decay, this was so hyped up that I think I ended up getting my hopes up a lot, because it's a a glow, you know, hydrating, all this. And people were saying they loved the finish, that it gave them a very like hydrated look. I never saw that. Like, I literally saw it almost go on kind of matte on my skin, and I didn't use a matte primer. I used the Silk Canvas, and I used this for the reason being that this is my favorite primer. It works so well amongst all my foundations that I knew I wouldn't really be risking, you know, the performance of this by using this. So I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, I don't know why it would have gone on as a different finish on me than everything else I'm seeing, but that's the unfortunate thing about a product getting so hyped up, that it's then you get your hopes up that it's gonna be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and it ends up not being that. So I don't know. Based on one use, I would probably say I'm a little disappointed based on the finish. Yes, it is a very good coverage product for being a hydrator. I didn't have to go in with layers. It was like just the right amount what I used. But again, not entirely sure about the finish. That is what I was banking on. So I think I covered everything. If I didn't, my deepest apologies, but as usual, I will have everything linked down below in case you're interested. And that brings us to the end of this video. My room is in disarray because I'm about to have the window changed out in this room. So I am so sorry, my Bible is not in here. I will place the verse of the day here on the screen at the bottom so that we still can share that verse with each other, and I will throw up a phone number in case you need prayer. Use it or not, it is definitely just there for your reference. So that being said, this brings us to the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I hope that you all are staying safe and staying well. I love each and every one of you, but remember that Jesus loves you so, so much more. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.